Hi, Chris Chinnock here for Insight Media at CES 2023. I'm in the Samsung booth where I've just been in their innovation room and learned quite a bit about HDR10 Plus Gaming. So this is a new protocol which is kind of an extension of the HDR10 Plus, which they implemented a number of years ago just for HDR purposes. Dynamic HDR. They added then adaptive HDR a year or two ago, which basically adjusted the tone mapping in the HDR based on the ambient illumination in the room. And this year they're talking about HDR gaming, HDR10 Plus Gaming. So this is actually quite an interesting innovation. So what I learned is that, first of all, HDR gaming is kind of in its infancy. It's really difficult to set up. It turns out that, and this is mostly for a PC-based gaming we're talking about here. If you have to set up the display properly in the right mode to start with. You then have to go into Microsoft settings and set those up properly, and then you have to go into the game itself and set those up as well. So getting all of those factors to work to get the game optimized for HDR turns out to be something that ordinary consumers are just not going to be able to do. So what HDR Plus Gaming does is automate that process. They basically do a handshaking between the PC and the display to read the EDID data. That EDID data then is used by Microsoft, the operating system, and the GPU to modify, to tone map the game, to provide it to the correct luminance levels that display can support and tone map it properly. And it turns out that NVIDIA already has software in their GPUs that can support this. I think it's 1,600 or so above GPUs support it. In addition, MediaTek SoCs for TVs also have that embedded in their chipsets. So basically any TV can support this at this point. And it's anticipated that AMD will probably come up with some support for this as well. And Samsung's also engaged with Microsoft to make all this happen, certainly starting at the PC level and hopefully moving to the console level later on. The other point is that the implementation of this is also done with basically no latency. That could be a stopper for this technology, but it's not, which is a good thing. And it also is a competitor to, in some sense, to what Dolby Vision is doing. Dolby Vision seems to be focused more on the game console market, where HDR10 Plus Gaming is focused more on PC to start. It's also really interesting because what this does, that not only does it tone map the game output, but it also sets the display in a PQ accurate mode. And there are software hooks on this, so you can actually set the luminance level. You don't have to use the EDID data to set the luminance levels. You can set it by software. So you can go through a series of luminance levels as a kind of a testing routine to see how multiple displays will display your game. And it's in this sense, it's almost like a semi-professional monitor in a PQ accurate mode. So you could also potentially use this protocol to set up kind of an inexpensive, non-professional but semi-professional grading studio. So interesting stuff coming out of HDR10 Plus. Hope to have more later reports. Chris Chinnock for Insight Media.